What is up YouTube, JC Games here, and welcome back to Exploring Omori Mysteries. My hair is in my eye, but Exploring Omori Mysteries. Alright, so this video was inspired by a Reddit post I came across while I was scrolling through Reddit, right? So I was scrolling through Reddit like a few days ago, which would be like a week ago for you guys. And then there was this post, and I was like, that's a pretty good point. So here we are today, and I'm like, I'm gonna make a whole video on this, on exploring the mystery. So today's mystery is, do Headspace bosses foreshadow events that happen in the real world in Omori? That was a pretty long title, but that's the video for, or the topic for the video today. Now I know this could kind of seem like a dumb or like a ridiculous question, you know, like you're like reaching too far, right? It sounds kind of far-fetched, but I actually have some evidence that might suggest it does. At least some parts of it, at least. First up is Rosa. Now, Rosa technically isn't a boss herself, right? Because she actually activates a boss, I guess, instead of being a boss, because she runs into the whole little error thing, and then she causes the error window pop-up box thing, boss, whatever. But anyway, I'm a counter because she does activate the boss. So Rosa is this sprout mole looking thing that you encounter in the junkyard, right? So you're running across the junkyard, and then she ends up finding the mixtape you're looking for to give to SpaceX boyfriend, and she's like, I don't want to give it to you because I'm a Sweetheart fan or something like that, yeah. And so she ends up running away, and then Omori and all of his gang ends up chasing her so they could borrow it for permanent amount of time. And then you end up, then that's how you end up in the little thing, and then you fight the boss and you beat the boss, and then you steal the thing from her. She's like, give it back, and you're like, no, and then she's like angry at you for the rest of the game for taking the mixtape. But that's the whole Rosa situation. If you haven't noticed, this is a lot like the real world, especially like day one, because in day one of the real world, Sunny and Kel pretty much like hang out for a bit, right? And then they find Aubrey bullying Basil, so then they save him, but then they take Basil back home, and then they find out Aubrey has stolen Basil's photo album. So then they go through this whole thing to find out where she is, and then eventually they do, and they go to where she is, which is at the church, and then they fight at the church, and then they eventually get it back after digging through the trash. So as you can see, they're kind of similar, a little bit, at least the whole, you know, chasing after them to get thing aspect of it. They're pretty similar. Now, it might just be like a huge coincidence, but I don't know. it might just be a huge coincidence, right? Because like some details are a bit different. But I do have another boss that might support this whole theory. My support of Mori. I don't know, my sentences are really bad today, I don't know. Enter Space Boyfriend or SpaceX Boyfriend or whatever his current relationship status is. So as we all know, Space Boyfriend is the great captain of the space pirates, which he explores all over the world and seeks his purpose in life and everything. But then he ends up splitting with his girlfriend, which is Sweetheart, which I don't even know how that whole relationship even ended up happening because they're like complete opposites of each other. But anyway, then after this, Space Boyfriend becomes like all depressed, right? And he stays in bed all day. So that's why Omori and all of his friends decide to go for the mixtape, and then they get it, and then Kel decides to play it, and then Space Boyfriend gets mad at everyone else, and then they have that whole fight. And then once the fight is over and I think Omori's party wins, then he's like, oh, I was acting dumb, and I'm sorry for how I acted and everything and all of that. And everything's happy again. Except then he goes back to Sweetheart after all of this. So it's like, what was the point? But anyway, this one in my opinion is kind of a bit more obvious, but Space Boyfriend, or then his whole story and everything, kind of foreshadows how Hiro acted in the real world after the truth. So we all know before the truth and everything, Hiro was this charismatic and charming person that had all these talents and everything, and he was a pretty happy person, I'd say. But then the truth happened, right? And Marie passes away, so he loses her, And then he becomes depressed and he like stays in bed a lot and he closes himself off and he doesn't even want to go to school and he drops, I guess, all his talents and everything. And it's just very bad for him. So Kel sees this happening. I think it was for like around the year after, and Kel sees this and he's like goes up to Hiro and he tries to help him. He's like, Hiro, we miss you and we all want you to get better and everything. And then Hiro ended up getting angry at him and shouting at him and crying and everything. And then Kel got, I guess, scared at him or terrified by his brother shouting because he never acted like this before. And then Kel himself started crying. And then his parents and their parents and everything heard all of this happening. So they rush into the room and then they go and comfort Hiro and they kind of ignore Kel, which Hiro notices. And then Hiro runs to Kel and comforts him because no one was comforting him, everyone was ignoring him. Which is a big topic that I'm probably going to save for a whole Kel analysis video, which will happen eventually. But anyway, as you can see, they're very similar. Like, they both became, after losing their partner, they both became very depressed. And, you know, they didn't want to do anything until something came up that angered them somehow. And then they both, like, lashed out, I guess. And then they would notice how they were acting so, like, super angry. And they both became apologetic about their angry behavior. So, as you can see, Hiro and Space Boyfriend's stories were pretty similar to the point where you may even call it foreshadowing. But anyway, that is pretty much like the only two buses where this foreshadowing thing applies, at least as far as I can tell. Like, I looked through all of them, and as far as I can remember, that's the only two buses that are, I guess, foreshadowing or at least similar to what happens in the real world. Now, if there is more that I don't remember, then please let me know, because I haven't played the game in a while and my memory of it is, I mean, it's not bad, but I'm saying I remember a lot more of the real world than I do of the Headspace world. So that is pretty much it. These two buses were the only things I could find. And plus, I am kind of making this video in a bit more of a rush, so if it's a bit shorter or not as good as usual, then that is another reason. But don't worry, next week I'm hoping is going to be a much better and longer video than this one. So with all that being said, that is all I could find for this week. So I don't know, maybe we could give you like a teaser to next week's video, because I kind of already know what I'm gonna do. So there, it's probably up on the screen right now if you can see it. If you can't, then that means I'm probably too lazy to edit it in. So anyway, I should probably get to editing this video because I'm already running late on it. So I'll see you guys next week.